Guys, the last month or so, Microsoft has actually surprisingly been working very hard to update their backwards compatibility emulator on the Xbox One. So the Xbox One uses an Xbox 360 emulator. I guess to make it seem simple, it's a program that tricks the Xbox One into thinking that it's an Xbox 360. And so it uses this program in order to run Xbox 360 games via backwards compatibility. Obviously, it's a lot more in-depth than that. But when this backwards compatibility program first released, there were noticeable issues with it. Microsoft was releasing backwards compatible games every month for the Xbox One, and almost all of them, almost just straight across the board, every single title always had weird performance-related issues that were not present on the 360 version. Now, once every blue moon, you got just kind of like a standard version that ran equal, if not maybe slightly worse than the 360, but it was almost universally agreed that just play it on your 360. Like, the Xbox One is having issues running these games. A common theory at the time was that Microsoft was pushing these games out way too soon because there had to be a fresh batch of backwards compatible games every month, and sure enough, after a while of getting these kind of like half-assed, like really poorly running emulated 360 games, Microsoft just kind of stopped pumping them out every month, and there began to be longer wait times between each little batch of backwards compatible games. And sure enough, we began seeing improvements. Call of Duty Black Ops 1 was the first game that kind of got just across gaming news, like, wow, holy crap, this runs really well on the Xbox One. Because the Call of Duty series is known for running at 60 frames per second, or trying to, on the last gen of consoles, which was kind of rare, funny enough. And the 360 version of Black Ops 1 had, you know, a few frame rate issues here and there. It mostly ran at about 50 to kind of like 55 frames per second, but the Xbox One version was almost locked at 60 frames per second. And then we saw Red Dead Redemption, and that also got a lot of press because it was basically locked at 30 frames per second, and there were no screen tearing issues or anything, and that was really impressive. And sure enough, now Microsoft is going back and updating previous titles for backwards compatibility so that they can run better, and Gears of War 3 was one of the few titles to actually get that update, as well as the other Gears games, if I remember right. And sure enough, here we are, Halo Reach, almost the king of poor performance on the Xbox One, got a patch a few days ago, and now it runs at an almost locked 30 frames per second with no screen tearing issues or anything. In fact, in some areas, it runs much better than the 360 version, about 15% better, which is really cool. And so I'm gonna link down below a video of this one channel that breaks down kind of the improvements that maybe you won't notice, but definitely he points out the facts and why this is really impressive from a tech standpoint that they managed to get it to run this well. And obviously, look, there's going to be some frame rate issues here and there, alright? The game has a few problems, like Halo Reach, the core game, stuff that sadly won't be able to be just fixed by running it on an Xbox One. So, you know, when you're in big team battle, there's hundreds of explosions and shrapnel from vehicles flying everywhere. Like, expect some frame rate issues, because that would have happened on the 360 as well. But ultimately, I'm going to link the video down below so that you guys can go check it out. And now, before I go, for those of you who just wanted the news, you're free to go now. We're going to delve into some personal stuff. So if you guys want to know what happened with my computer, it turns out that my graphics card was failing. It wasn't because of the 24-hour live stream or anything. It was just a malfunction. It just began degrading itself. The tech guy doesn't really know what caused it. He just thinks I bought a faulty graphics card, and it was finally just kind of giving up. And on top of that, so on the 24th of October, which is also my birthday, I'm going to be having nose surgery, which I will probably get into it a little bit. No, it's not a nose job, but what is happening is, like, I'm going to be put under and stuff, and they're going to have to kind of, I guess, some childhood injury? Like, it's complicated. I'll get into it in a later video, but, so I might, starting on the 24th, you might notice that I'll sound kind of stuffy for a few days, but, you know, just a heads up for you guys, and do not worry, I will get back to work making videos because I have a lot to catch up on. I'll see you guys on the next video.
Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter and like my Facebook page.